Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. And this past Friday, I had a chance to cross off something on my bucket list that I've had on there for quite some time. And that was a trip to the Monroeville Mall in Pennsylvania. Of course, the famous mall where George Romero's classic Dawn of the Dead was filmed. Now we're gonna take a little trip throughout this video, to look at some of the sites in the mall. The mall's changed quite a bit, obviously, since the filming of Dawn of the Dead, but this was just a place that I've always wanted to go to. And of course, with the news coming out earlier this year that the mall, property in the mall has been, is on, has been sold. Who knows how much longer this historic site is going to be around. So I had to just get out there and see it for myself and, just walk through and just take it all in. Now, again, like the mall has changed over the years, which is understandable. We know the mall is going to change. So we're gonna take a look at some of the sites, some of the things that have changed in the mall, some of the stores that are still in the mall. And for a Friday morning, this and I went to the mall basically when it was a little bit after it opened up, and there was a decent steady flow of customers still going into the mall. And of course, we have our typical stores. We have Spencer Gifts there on that side. This was the lower floor of the mall, so not too much going on in that particular section. We are going to see a few things coming up very soon. We have Champs over there on the side. Good old Hot Topic. Have a Hallmark. Of course, there are also some stores that are basically just for the Pittsburgh area. Of course, the mall is by about good 25 minutes away from the Pittsburgh area itself. Now moving my way to the second floor of the mall. As you see, that we do have some customers. Now, this is something I want to point out, guys, because in the movie, the original movie, the classic Dawn, this is the hallway that Peter and Roger run up and down quite a few times in the movies. Payphones were originally in this hallway, but now we have vending machines, some gumball machines. But I decided to take that trek down this hallway. You almost think like those floors. See how the floors look? You almost think like maybe that's exactly how I have to go back and watch the film again, but maybe that's still the original floors, the original floors that were there back then. Now, I stopped here at this particular maintenance store here because, from what I've been told, this is the actual area where they would have built their fake wall. They had their little hideout, up the stairs there. But that was what I've told is that is the particular location to where they had that fake wall that they built. Like I said, Roger and Peter ran down this hallway, and we have our soda machine, our gumball machine. They're right here. This is where the payphones would have been back, when the movie was made. Just going back and watching this footage now, the feeling that I got going through this mall, the feeling I had was just I can't describe it, guys. If you're a fan, if you're a horror fan, if you're just a fan of that movie in general, there's just a feeling as soon as you walk through into that historic mall that I can't describe it. I absolutely just cannot describe it. Now, if you look down here to the first floor, you see that child's playground play area. That is where the fountain was in the film that has long been replaced by that children's play area. And the escalator to the right hand side there, that was not there when the film was made. So those escalators are brand new. I was just taking in all the sights. What a feeling. Absolutely what a feeling being in that mall. I went outside, got myself a little shot of, the name of the mall up top there. Almost like it hasn't changed. I bet you that has not changed since the filming of Dawn. Yeah, and back in that film, all those zombies would have been walking, walking in that parking lot. Back once again to the child's play area. Again, that is where the fountain would have been. And of course, the food court. Now, the food court, this was interesting because that is where the ice rink was in the film. And I sat down in the food court and got myself a little Annie Ann's, frozen slushy lemonade. But as I'm sitting there drinking it, I was thinking it's really chilly in this area, and of course, it makes sense because you want to keep that floor frozen. If that is exactly, from what I've been told, where the ice rink was located, that makes a lot of sense. Just walking down these hallways, just taking it all in. I was at the mall for maybe a good 2.5 hours, and like I said, the feeling and the vibe that that mall was just putting off. I can't explain it, guys. It's something, if you get a chance to go out there and see it for yourself, definitely, definitely do it. Go before the mall is no longer there. Unfortunately, they were doing maintenance on the front of the mall entrance here. This is where the bikers came through in the film when they finally bust through. Unfortunately, I could not go through those doors because they were doing some construction in the wall here. They a little bit of a little bit of the Monroeville, history about the mall. Don't you worry, guys, because we are gonna see. There's the ice rink up top there. But we are gonna see some zombies coming up pretty soon in these pictures. Classic Dawn picture right there. There's good old George. Our heroes of the film. There's that fountain I was talking about. Now, right here, this is the location where Roger and Peter drove the car. Remember when they hotwire the car in the mall and they drive down this exact, that is the hallway, the entrance, or the area where they drive the car down. And of course, we have a bust of good old George Romero himself. Really happy to locate that in the mall and check that out. But yeah, just an incredible place, guys. Definitely go check out the Monroeville Mall if you get a chance. I think you're definitely going to love it if you are a big horror fan. There's a Living Dead Museum. And right here, there's the front of the mall, like I said, as I was heading out on my way home. Take care, guys.